Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Andrew and Kelly back at you. This time, we are going to share with you. Don't you feel privileged? Share with you our picks for the top 3 movie premises.
Yes. Whether or not the movie is good, the premise was promising.
Yes. So, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to choose my first one.
I'm not looking at your notes.
Don't look at my notes. Okay. So, well, because of a previous video that you made, we will start with The Faculty, which is a little Elijah Wood vehicle. Mm-hmm. Call me. So the reason I like The Faculty is for the one...
Is for Elijah Wood, but why else do you like
why
The
else
Faculty?
do I... No, honestly, and let me tell you why. This was actually the first movie...
Because it certainly isn't Usher.
He's in The Faculty?
Yes. On some of the posters, he got top billing.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, who the hell is Usher?
Oh, man.
And people were explaining, Usher is Usher, man. I'm like, is he an Usher?
It's his name.
No, it's just some guy's name, and apparently a singer or musician of some
he
sort.
is. And he's fine.
I guess.
But no, the thing I like about...
Not a good-looking dude and charismatic. I mean, he's fine in the film for the 5 seconds he's in there.
He's barely in there.
Yeah, but he's Usher. He's got to be on the poster with his name. Okay, we're getting off topic.
I remember that.
Faculty.
No, so the thing that I like about The Faculty is the idea that... Because it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or any of these things. However, the difference is that in all of those other movies, you have the feeling that this is a bad thing. You know, Invasions of the Body Snatchers, they make you, like, zombified. You don't have a personality. You know, Stepford Wives is, like, kind of this... That's the correct movie, right? Stepford Wives?
It could be.
That they're all, like, robotic. But, like, in Faculty, when you get the leech into your ear and it, you know, turns you into the other thing, you're, like, happy and euphoric. And it's, like, an interesting... It's just, to me, I find that very... very different. That, like, even the head, he's talking to Chloe what's-her-face, and she's here and he's on the other side of the door, and he's like, you'll be beautiful and everyone's beautiful, and it's so and I haven't seen this in a long time. I really do like this movie a lot, but, like, he's like,
we saw it in the theater.
Yeah, and the little blonde chick who's, like, the leader, she talks about how, like, everyone's happy and there's no hate and there's no this, and I'm like, that's normally not what you get when you have an alien invasion. So that's what I thought was... Well,
in most of the Body Snatchers type movies, anyone who is a pod person...
Right.
It's saving the world. Yeah, there are no wars, there are no strife, but they do that by completely stripping all personality and emotion from people, which would include things like, you know, joy and happiness.
Right.
I haven't thought about that in a while, but that's true. The Faculty, the pod people, so to speak, in The Faculty, do retain their personalities.
Yeah, and they're all beautiful. They all look better. Although how they made Bebe Neuwirth look not great, and then she looks great.
Isn't it Famke Janssen who plays the
the
teacher who does the whole mousy thing, and that's
with
like,
Josh
all I need to do is take off my glasses and throw my hair back, and I am Famke Janssen.
Right. Who does? Oh, God, I love her. Everyone in that movie.
She doesn't get
great.
enough to do in film. She's really great.
No. But yeah, so my first choice was The Faculty, just because I felt like it's
that's interesting because the Faculty is
not on your
not
list.
an original. No, it's not on my list, but it was an interesting choice because I thought you were going with because the whole Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a great premise in and of itself.
Yeah. Yes.
So I thought it kind of odd that you were going with The Faculty instead of even going as far back as Heinlein with the Puppet Masters.
Well, the whole idea is, like, the puppet...
But building on top of that premise with, but it's actually attractive. Because you look at the pod people, movies like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and you're like, I don't want to be like that. That looks boring.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So there's actually... I think the Faculty, the pod people in the Faculty actually do make a better case for join us, be Legion.
Yeah.
Because who really wants to be one of the Borg? I mean, sure, they have really neat cyborg parts.
Right? Yeah, they're not
but,
happy.
But yeah, they look all
they're
really
not happy.
bored.
Yeah, no.
So no, hive minds look really boring, but the faculty was a party.
That was so good.
That's a fun movie too.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's got a fun tentacle monster at the end. I don't know how well the effects hold up these days.
I haven't watched it for a
while.
while.
I have not seen
and
it
yet
in over 10 years at least.
I like remember the conversations, and I like when you learn everybody's name and they're like Zeke and he gives you the pens, and then I know this movie really well.
The sniffy pens, yeah.
And that's how they know who's who, and they're like, just let her enjoy her high. Or when Elijah Wood gets high, let him enjoy his high.
Okay, so my first movie premise that I'm going to categorize as one of the best movie premises ever is actually my favorite movie of all time.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. You shoot ghosts with lasers.
I mean, yes.
That's cool in and of itself. But one thing I really love about the movie is you take this really fantastical high concept and you make it almost drudgery. Like this blue-collar office ticket-punching job. Halfway through the movie, once the luster wears off, they're like, here's tonight's worksheet. And they're like, oh, God. I'm covered in slime.
Right.
Please hire more help. It's like, this is Winston Zeddemore. He's here about the job. Beautiful. You're hired. Come here and hold this.
Yeah.
It's cool because when it creates a service out of something that we don't know because of ghosts. If you have spiders in your house, you call an exterminator who comes and removes the spiders. If someone's breaking into your house, you call the police to come and get the jerk who's breaking into your house. If your house is on fire, you call the fire people to come and put your house out before it burns to the ground.
Certainly.
If you have ghosts, you call the Ghostbusters to come to your house and get the ghosts out of your house.
Right.
It's just such a... I just love that idea that ghosts are more of a nuisance, like an infestation of mice, than it is some really weird thing which would have humongous civil, social, religious ramifications the world over if we suddenly got populated with ghosts. It's like, no,
that would be scary.
It's like, no, ghosts are really just kind of a pain in the ass and really annoying.
Yeah.
And we have, poor, I think Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd actually kind of referred to them as ghost janitors. And I just kind of love that idea. It's like, it's with the enthusiasm of unclogging a backed up toilet. They're like, we've got a class 5 free roaming vapor on the 12th floor of the Hedgewood Hotel.
I think that what you said, like, kind of at the beginning when you were introducing, is that it's just a job and they're punching their time cards, is something that Brother and I talk about a lot, is that you have to live within the rules of your own world, and you can make up the rules whatever they are, right? But I mean, for me, that makes sense because if you're in a world that ghosts are a thing, this wouldn't be this fantabulous, it would just be like, it would be. I mean, they wear janitor suits. I mean, it's not a glamorous thing, whereas we, since we don't live in that world, we watch it and we're like, that's a glamorous thing. That's so interesting. They portray it as we literally are.
It also
that's
makes
the world we
it
live in.
really
that's what
accessible, and I think has a lot to do with why so many kids my age, people my age who were kids at the time, grew up wanting to be Ghostbusters, because the movie really made that profession something accessible. Because, Winston Zeddemore, as he's portrayed in the movie, is just some guy looking for a job. And she's like, do you believe in the Loch Ness Monster and the theory of Atlantis and all this stuff? And he's like, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
I'm
it's like,
a fan of Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, here's the on button. Hudson. Point. This is the laser end. Point it at the ghost. Anyone could be I think that was really the beautiful thing about it, is anyone really could be a Ghostbuster. It wasn't this. You watch the Marvel movies, which I love. Not everyone can be Thor or Captain America or Iron Man. I mean, or Black Widow or Hawkeye. I mean, those two especially are really skilled people. We're not that highly skilled in those ways, but anyone could be a Ghostbuster. All you need is to strap on a proton pack, and you're pretty good to go.
There you go.
And so
that is cool.
But anyway, Ghostbusters. There are ghosts. Shoot them with lasers. That's great. All right. Next.
So my next movie is one that they're gonna fight me about, but that's all right. I'm ready for you to fight me. Come at me. You don't even know where I live.
St. Louis.
I do. But look where I am. I'm in San Diego.
That's right.
I'm here. This is my first time in this apartment. Very exciting.
Yeah.
So there was in some years ago, Johnny Depp made a film called Nick of Time, which was really bad. But the premise was great.
Though, didn't work.
It didn't work. And here's the premise. So basically...
Not that there wasn't anything to enjoy about it, but...
Right. I mean, it was fine. So it's called Nick of Time, and I forget exactly who he is or why he is, but he's given a task of like, hey, you need to kill this congressman or something, or we'll kill your family. It was one of those, like, you need to do this task for us, or we're going to do some bad... something with your family or child or something, and you have 75 minutes. And the movie actually... So the next 75 minutes was the movie and exactly what he did. And now
the movie happens in real time.
So it happens in real time. And that's where they're going to
which
fight
actually
me.
Has been... It's probably been done
24.
before. Well, 24,
I never watched
24 came after. But there's several other movies that came after. It's probably a movie in real time, I'm sure, has been done before. But
this is the one I recall.
It's the first one that... probably just because of the when it came out and how old we were when it
right.
wasn't it mid-90s?
I would think so.
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
Probably not
we
the
were
first to actually.
Preteens.
Yeah, probably not the first to actually do a whole movie in real time, but definitely the first one that we were exposed to just because of when it came out and how old we were at the time.
And I don't know if there's been one. I mean, like I said, I think the reason I said that they would fight me is because 24. I think that was the entire premise, but like. For me,
well, each TV show took place in real
1
time
hour
in an
of
hour
their
block,
thing.
Yeah.
But did it? Like, you don't really see everything he did because I think that I never saw it either. But I'm sure that they didn't just follow him for the whole hour. Although, who doesn't want to look at Kiefer Sutherland for an hour?
They don't.
But like,
I think they cut to different things.
But for me, and we talk about this, and I won't get into the show we were talking about, but timing is such an important thing when you're watching a movie. The last thing you want, and like, let's talk about Law and Order real quick. I said I wasn't going to talk about something, but like, I love Law and Order, but they just seem to do a whole lot in a day. And I've lived in New York, and it takes an hour to get anywhere, and that's subway, taxi. Like, you can go down the street, you're not coming back for like an hour. It's just true, and it just always seems like there's endless time in a day. And I like Law and Order. Like, let's not be confused. But there's just something about it that makes you think like, wow, like these people, they must wake up at 3 and go to bed at midnight, or like it's just amazing. And there's always daytime, and they can always get anywhere they need, and then find their way back to the station so they can talk about what they, And I just feel like having a show.
Well, we better go back out there. It's like,
God, I was just out there. Like, so it's just, so for me, like something like Nick of Time or a movie with that sort of a premise, it's kind of interesting because you're going to have those moments, and maybe they don't do it because who wants to see those moments that you're just in the back of a taxi being like, well, shoot, go.
This is the next 35 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's interesting, and it hasn't been done well that I have seen. Please tell me if it has been done well.
There's a fairly recent
I do
one
read his comments.
Yeah, there was a fairly recent one that was like I forget the name of the movie, but it was like shot on an iPhone or something.
Was that the guy, the first person,
I don't think it's first person, but I think it's shot on something like an iPhone, and it made the festival circuit. I don't think it had a theatrical release, and I really don't remember what it's called.
Is it about transvestites? Because that's called Tangerine.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Tangerine. That sounds right.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I think that's
I'd like
the
to.
one.
It was shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
And it's not first person. I was thinking of that.
Yeah, I don't
one.
think it's for. Oh, what? Our hardcore.
That's
Harry,
the one.
Henry,
I'm
whatever.
like something.
No.
I think I called it.
Yeah, Tangerine. If I'm remembering correctly, that's the one that's also it's shot on an iPhone. It's done in real time. If it's not Tangerine, there's another festival circuit movie that does that.
I'll have to look now harder into it because I wanted to see Tangerine anyway. But okay, so that was my second one.
So, am I on number 2?
Yes.
Okay, so my second movie with the best premise would be The Purge. So, which we actually talked about briefly yesterday.
I wasn't in the room. I think I came in at the end of the conversation.
Oh, okay. So, The Purge, here's the premise.
Okay. Because I've not seen it.
Annually, every year, for 12 hours, from like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., all emergency services are shut off. Fire, police, ambulance, all that. And all crime is legal. The idea, ostensibly, being that, okay, America, you've got 12 hours to get it all out of your system. Mm-hmm. You know, no consequences, no repercussions. Whatever you want to do, from killing people, lighting things on fire, cheating on your taxes, to masturbating in the street, although the only thing people seem to do in these movies is just murder each other.
The thing is, though, I've lived in New York. You are not saying anything that I haven't seen.
It's like this happens on the subway every day. Yeah.
Urination in public.
Yeah. It's like, it's not purge night. What are you doing?
I'm like, dude, it is 6:58. You guys, you gotta pull your pants up.
You put that away for 2 minutes, mister. That's un-American, that is.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
I mean, if it were actually purge hours,
then my salute.
You are a patriot.
Salute.
A true patriot. And I like to watch patriotism.
At its best.
At its best, yes. In fact, I'm going to record this and put it on YouTube. You have to wonder, does anyone actually record their purging activities and post it on YouTube?
Oh. You know they ought to. Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
For those people who, like me, who I would be like sleeping all the time, 7 to 7, like that good amount of that would be just.
Oh man, yeah. We'll get to that in a second, but the interesting. I love this high concept premise. It's so pulp, so goofy. Wouldn't work in real life, but it's just such a great idea for a horror movie. And the action horror movie, and the first movie does nothing with it. It's just a regular home invasion movie and not a particularly good one. It's not terrible. It's watchable. The third one,
3?
Election Night. I've actually never seen 2 or 3. I would like to, but because apparently they actually show what you would want to see in a movie with this premise. Is you want someone stuck outside during the purge and wandering around and see all the crazy stuff that ends up happening when it's lawless just for 12 hours.
You know, I've seen movies like, and again, like I actually agree with you. I've never seen the Purge's movies, but I do find the concept intriguing. Like, I do find that sort of interesting. I mean, I don't think it would work. I have a lot of problems with it, obviously. And, you know, for fuddy-duddies like me, I'd be like, I'd just stay in a bunker and watch movies and popcorn and, you know, call it a day. But that aside, there are other movies, and I'm not going to think of them right away, but that you have to be in by a certain time, or... and not
like
just
any
like
vampire movie,
and I'm like, why are these people always late? Like, honestly,
I lost track of time.
Number one, I am punctual to a fault. Like, I am one of those people who I have and continue to this day will sit in my car because I'm just ridiculously early to something, and I'm like, well, I can't be too early because then you're actually, that's rude too, to be too early. But I'm not late to things.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things with the
But in movies, people are constantly like, I'll never make it.
That's the weird thing about The Purge is the main character, you see people, it's like, I purge in 15 minutes. It's like, I would have been home hours ago. I wouldn't even bother going out that day. No. Just in case I get a flat tire or run out of gas or the car breaks down. But, I mean, you know, it's like, it happens once a year. You know it's not. Why would you even risk going outside?
Yeah.
But
like, what if someone's watch is fast?
It's like, oh crap! I have daylight savings.
Is there a bell?
Wouldn't that suck if like Purge Night was literally the night after daylight savings?
Oh
people
man!
Are like, I thought I had an hour.
I thought I had an extra hour.
So yeah, it's an interesting premise to think about because you wonder, what would I do? would I partake in the purge? Or would I go... Me, I'd hide. I don't have a bunker.
No.
So, but we could also just go down to Mexico. It's right over there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's close.
I mean, I assume the purge is an American thing, not a worldwide thing.
Yeah. Or if you actually had, like, if this were a thing, then maybe you wouldn't live in this place. Like, you would find one that has a bunker. Or you would have created one by now. Or, like, you know, depending on, you know, how many people you piss off over the course of a year, you know, you might have to
either that
lock
or,
up more tightly.
I mean, of course, I live right next to a border, so what if, you know, in St. Louis, what would you do? If I lived in the middle of the country, or I didn't have a car and couldn't get out of the country, I would just know when purge was, and I would just walk out into the woods in the middle. I'd go camping for a night, not tell anyone where I'm going. Say, I'll see you guys in the morning.
That would be my vacation.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, that's when I'm going to go to the Caribbean.
Yeah, because the odds that some person is wasting their 12 hours of purge night traipsing through the woods just hoping they might come across somebody is almost zero.
Yeah.
So the chances, if you go out camping, unless someone is specifically gunning for you and follows you out there, there's almost no chance that you would not survive the night unless you got hit by lightning or eaten by a bear or something. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, The Purge, a great premise, and I'm really looking forward to eventually seeing 2 and 3, because they look like a lot of fun.
Do you own the first one?
I do not, because I didn't
like
care for it that much.
Okay, I was wondering.
So, third one.
So, I have several that I can choose from, and I'm just going to choose A Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
Due to there's a couple reasons. Number one, it's just such a fantastic movie and brilliantly directed, but that has nothing to do with the premise. What I like about the premise...
Kubrick.
Oh.
Overrated.
I think he has an eye. An eye. But anyway, so here's...
Had 2.
Thank gosh. all of his shots are like...
That's not how that works, but it's still pretty funny.
So here's what I like about the Clockwork Orange. Clockwork Orange. Any of the Clockwork Oranges. It made no sense unless you were truly listening to what I was saying, is the fact that at the end of the movie, and maybe this is just me, and if it is, you all are going to think I'm insane, but you kind of, again, continuing the insaneness, is that you sort of start feeling for Alex. At least I do. There's a very fine line between, like, who is the good guy and who's the bad? Like, you know he's a bad guy, and he's doing bad things. But by the end of it, you're almost on his side in the fact of, like, and I think that that's just an interesting story to tell. And if I can go further into the reason I find that interesting is that there's, like a superhero movie or like any other movie, you have the obvious good and, like, the obvious bad. And the bad guy... It's very rare to find a bad person who doesn't actually realize that they're bad. They're just doing what they do. And it just so happens that in the framework of this picture that we're supposed to be on this person's side, so we know that that's bad. Like, we're like, well, you're obviously evil because you're against our hero, right? So it's not often that you find a bad guy who is just, I'm just doing my thing. I mean... I don't think out there in the real world there's people that are bad that are like, yeah, you know? Yeah, I think that they truly...
Yeah, it's mostly it's only real cartoony villains who are evil for evil's sake.
Right. And so the thing that...
Now, a lot of time evil is just very self-centered, but it's not about being evil.
And I think that that's what I like about Clockwork Orange is that, like, him and his... cronies are having a good time, but they're bad, and he kind of knows he's bad.
Yeah,
but
they don't really seem to have any concept of what they're doing.
They don't. They don't have...
I mean, it's like intellectually, I'm sure they know that it's wrong.
Yeah, sure.
But they just don't feel it at all. They just can't empathize.
Right. And so... And then you take that as a viewer, and you see that, and you're like, God, yeah... do whatever you can to this guy. And the people who are helping him are doing the exact same thing. They like have his eyes open and they're like ruining Beethoven for him and all of this stuff. They're doing like the exact same thing he's doing, just in the name of this is okay. And I think that I just think it's interesting to take something that will change your mind by the end. Like that. Like, I hate this guy, do whatever you got to because he's a bad nasty, and then by the end you're like, you ruined Mozart or Beethoven. Like, it's just so sad. And he's not cured anyway, which, you know.
And don't his friends, like, just beat him the hell up?
Yeah, and he gets
sick. Aren't they cops or something at the end? Yeah.
Yes, they become...
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yes. So, I just like it because I feel like, and it's one of those that I haven't seen anything like it. I mean, like, my first one, like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, there's things like that. Even Nick of Time, we talked about, you know, there's things that are trying to be done in real time, but there is nothing out there in my head that is anywhere even remotely close to A Clockwork Orange, which in my head has to make it a great premise because it just can't be repeated. You know, there isn't anything that takes, you know, the bad guy and kind of makes him a sympathetic character. I think that's the thing that makes him... By the end, you just at least I am, and maybe I need to be locked up.
At the very least, I think a lot of the audience will allow their own empathy to extend to this genuine monster. I think is the way to phrase it.
That's good.
Side note, I'm surprised with all the as remake happy as Hollywood is. No one really seems to want to touch.
You can't
Kubrick.
touch it. Don't touch it.
I mean,
don't touch it.
We have,
don't make The Shining.
No, okay. Well, The Shining. The Shining's been.
They did?
Well, The Shining was the TV series, like a 4-hour TV one. Oh. With the Wings guy. The show Wings.
No, I know the guy with the.
Yeah, it was a mini-series.
Weird.
I think they made for
No
TV.
offense, though. I mean, like, you know, that one, Shelley Duvall, maybe.
I like Shelley Duvall.
Have you seen her in The Shining?
Yeah.
Curious. I mean, she's just not a good actress.
But she does go, ah! when he's chasing her with an axe. I don't really care for this. I have not seen enough Kubrick, but I've not liked anything I've seen of his.
I've not seen enough Kubrick.
Yeah, but it's an interesting thing is, no one's trying to make remake 2001. No one's trying to remake Clockwork Orange or what's Full Metal Jacket, which I've not seen.
Oh my gosh, that's the best movie.
Is it?
So good. Oh my gosh. So good.
Full Metal Jacket is his, not Platoon, right?
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket is his, right? Okay, so.
Oh my gosh.
Eyes Wide Shut.
So good. That's freaking good too.
Is it?
Oh my god, you would hate it.
Oh well, okay.
Full Metal Jacket you might like. Eyes Wide Shut you won't like.
People.
You'll just like roll your eyes the whole time.
Like my own movie. So, okay, so
and
last
AI
one.
was ruined by Spielberg.
Well, I didn't see that either.
No need.
So last one. Horror movies are very interesting because they can be scary if you can relate to them, right?
Right.
So, Jaws. This is not my movie, but Jaws, for example, it's about a hungry shark that eats people that go in the water.
Right.
And it's like, wow, I go in the water. I could get eaten by a shark. We're in San Diego.
Right.
We were just at the beach playing in the ocean.
We were.
We could have been eaten by a shark.
We could have.
But if you don't want to be eaten by a shark,
don't swim in the ocean.
Stay out of the ocean.
Okay.
Because despite what some of the movies on the Sci-Fi Channel will tell you, the sharks cannot walk out of the water and get you.
They're not going to get swept up on a tornado.
Yeah, there's no sharknadoes, there's no ghost sharks, there's no land sharks, octosharks, sand sharks, whatever. Okay. If you stay out of the ocean, you're not going to be eaten by a shark. Friday the 13th. Jason Voorhees, haunts the Camp Crystal Lake and the general surrounding area.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you go to out in the middle of the woods and some maniac could hack you to bits. It's like, well, right, stay away from Camp Crystal Lake. Jason Voorhees doesn't, unless someone actually physically transports him out somewhere, he stays there. So,
sure.
Yeah. Stay out of motels, Norman Bates won't get you.
fan of his hotel. He don't travel either.
Yeah, he doesn't travel. Just stay away from the Bates Motel and you're fine.
Okay.
Unless you go to this one specific place where this specific guy is.
Right.
The odds that you're ever going to get to him is fine. However, there is one movie, the movie I'm talking about, its premise has a murderer that you can't escape from. You can't just stay away from him.
No.
No, I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
But it's a good guess. A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, sorry. I should have known this. Gosh, you're my brother. I should have guessed it.
It's a serial murderer who kills you in your dreams.
Yeah, okay.
And no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, eventually
you have to sleep.
You will fall asleep.
Yeah.
And you'll be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Now, if you read more into the later
maybe
movies...
move off of Elm Street?
Right. If you read more into the later movies' mythology, he does, for some reason, seem to be bound to Springwood. But then the sixth one, he moves past Springwood. He says, every town has an Elm Street. And it's like, I
do remember that.
I'm not cottoning to the rules here. Are you limited by geographical area? Or... It's not really clear, but man, what a great premise. A killer who gets you when you sleep. Not where you sleep, but when you sleep, you're vulnerable. And that is such a great idea because you can't not sleep.
Right.
You can drink as much coffee and take as many caffeine pills as you want, but eventually you will succumb to sleep. And
absolutely.
That's that. That is such a great idea for a
It is, and it's done very well. Well,
in the first one.
Yes.
Yeah, the rest. The third one's pretty great too. New Nightmare's good. Freddy vs. Jason is. I enjoy
we like Freddy vs. Jason. That was a good one.
But I do. I even like part 2, even though that's the one that people hate the most because Freddy comes out of the dream. And kind of breaks the rules that were kind of more set up by the later movies than the first one. Yeah. But in a way, you get away. It's Freddy walking around the real world isn't really Freddy. It's actually Jesse being puppeted by Freddy. So while we, the viewers, I've always looked at it as while we, the viewers, see Freddy wandering around that pool party, the other pool party members probably saw Jesse. Right,
yeah, that's
the
true
guy.
too.
That's how I interpret it, or at least that's my headcanon to make the movie make sense.
I've done that with a lot of movies. I'm like, I gotta like this. I'm gonna make this be.
But Nightmare on Elm Street, such a great premise for a movie.
That's a goodie. I like it.
Because you can't get away from Freddy. If he wants you, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. I like your choices.
Thank you. So, all right. Those are our top 3 premises.
Yes.
What are yours? Feel free to share them in the comments below. And it doesn't have to necessarily be limited to movies either. You can give us book premises or plays that you've seen. I don't know. Songs. Some songs tell a story.
Songs can tell. The country ones especially.
Yeah, it's this great. It's this great premise where I lost my girlfriend and my truck and my dog, and I'm sad about it. What a great premise for a song.
Talk about All American.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or if you're into modern hip hop, I've got a great premise for a song.
It's about all the bitches.
I am awesome. Here's the premise for my song. Me. Me and how awesome I am. I am so awesome, and everyone must hear about my awesomeness. That's how awesome I am. That's a premise. Me. I am the premise.
I'm not gonna lie. When we shut this off, there is a song that you're gonna need to listen to from Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Oh, is that the Lonely Island Boys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna listen to it now.
Okay. Y'all take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.